Regarding the title of this year's conference, Is the State Under Deconstruction? How do you see the role of state in modern diplomacy, especially in resolving crises?
Well, you know, state and security is a key issue. You in former Yugoslavia know a lot about this. When the state collapses, it sometimes collapses in war. And that was a decade lost of the 1990s. And what we have seen since is rebuilding states, new states. And of course, our question here is how does that fit in the process of European integration? So to what extent the new states that are being built not only provide security to their citizens, but also are fit, compatible with the project of European integration.
Okay. Is the Balkans on the road from conflict zone to security community?
Well, this is of course what we are all trying to assess. So far, the recent developments are encouraging because we have seen the process of reconciliation, Serbia, Croatia. Now we see new and very positive developments with Serbia and Kosovo. Important question will be Bosnia, of course, beyond the stalemate that they have reached. And yes, at the end of the day, what you seek is to create a security community in the region as a condition for the region's integration into Europe. Because, of course, Europe as such is not a military organization, but it is a security community. It believes that you can build security through interdependence among states that have sometimes had conflicts between them in the recent past. So that's how the European project was formed after World War II. And the idea is whether that idea can be, in a way, sort of adopted in the Balkans.
Again, what is your impression on Third Belgrade Security Forum?
My impression so far has been rather good. You know, there are a lot of things one can sort of comment with interest, sometimes with irony, because one hears things that you know, you hear things from diplomats that sometimes, as a non-diplomat, you may want to respond. But this is, I think, the good thing about the forum, that it brings together politicians, diplomats, that is, people who speak sometimes with a slightly wooden language, and then experts, representatives of NGOs, or free-floating intellectuals like myself, who speak their minds. And I think sometimes the confrontation or the exchange between the two is certainly a fruitful one.
And do you have any suggestions for the next Belgrade Security Forum?
Suggestions? Well, there can be many suggestions about topics. There are topics about democracy. You know, you're trying to build transition to democracy in the Balkans. Guess what? It is in crisis in Europe. You want to join the European Union, European integration. Guess what? There's a crisis of European integration itself. So what we have to confront is the paradoxical situation that it is not like the Balkans have fallen into pieces during the war and now are looking for a safe haven and nirvana where everything will be fine, democracy, states, peace, etc. No, they're joining a process of a very complex, confused European crisis. And the difficulty will be to show that Balkans coming into the EU is not going to make the situation more difficult, but that it will be a positive contribution to the EU. So I would say the best, the best recommendation for these regions coming into the EU is actually fixing its own house, fixing the neighborhood, and of course being part of the European debate as such. That is something that is ignored sometimes here. It's not that there's something like the EU, and the EU is going through a major change. This morning I heard British ambassador saying he's a strong supporter of Balkans in the EU. He's even a strong supporter of Ukraine, enlargement to the Ukraine. Wonderful. He didn't say, next year we're planning in Britain a referendum on exit from the EU. That sort of sums up the situation in which we find ourselves.
Okay, thank you very much.